Hello everyone, welcome back to Banking and Finance with Chitrak. Today we'll be discussing the MCQs related to the 5th AML chapter, which is AML CFT Legislation in major countries. So let's begin. The first question is, how many member states comprises of the Council of Europe? The options are 27, 47, 52 or 46, and the correct answer is 46. Now remember, if you are reading from the book or if you are seeing my notes, there it will be written that currently 47 member states are there, but in actual the number of member is 46, as I have discussed in the video of lecture that the 47th state, which is Russia, has been removed from the European Union or European Council because they attacked Ukraine in 2022. The next question is, the Council of Europe established the European Convention on the Suppression of Terrorism in what year? The options are 1993, 1990, 1977 or 2001, and the correct answer is 1977. The third question, the European Convention on Laundering, Search, Seizure and Confiscation of the Proceeds from Crime was established by the Council of Europe in which year? 1986, 1977, 1993 or 2002, and the correct answer is 1993. The next question is, a large international bank operating within the Council of Europe member states is asked by a foreign government to confiscate the assets believed to be the proceeds of crime pursuant to a requested order made abroad. This modality of assistance is specifically provided under which Council of Europe Convention? First option is European Convention on the Suppression of Terrorism of 1977, European Convention on Laundering, Search, Seizure and Confiscation of the Proceeds from Crime of 1993, the first Anti-Money Laundering Directive of 1990, or the EU 4th Anti-Money Laundering Directive 2015. And the correct answer is option number B. Fifth question is, what key action does the 1993 European Convention require member states to criminalize regarding proceeds of crime? The options are cross-border wire transfer, structuring transactions, laundering the proceeds of crime, or terrorist financing. And the answer is the laundering of the proceeds of crime. Next question. The 1993 European Convention provides for measure to confiscate the proceeds of crime, which include enforcement by the requested state of a confiscation, order made abroad of the requested state executing a political motivation exemption, domestic proceeding leading to confiscation at the request of another state, suspension of all customary due diligence, requirement to register all foreign bank accounts. We have discussed this before some questions, which is B, domestic proceeding leading to confiscation at the request of another state. So basically this convention provides that if any other state or foreign state requests for confiscating the proceeds of crime, then it will be accepted by that state. Next question, in what year did the European Union adopt its first anti-money laundering directive? 1990, 1993, 1977 or 2015? The answer is 1990. The first European anti-money laundering directive was accepted in 1990. Next question is, in 2015, the EU adopted a modernized regulatory framework encompassing which two anti-money laundering directives? The first and second directive, the second and third directive, fourth and fifth, or third and fourth? And the answer is the fourth and fifth directives were adopted in 2015. The next question, following June 2018, the European Union implemented further changes to its AML CFT framework, including regulations on information accompanying transfers of funds effective from January 2020. This framework was introduced by which legislative instrument? And the options are the first Anti-Money Laundering Directive, the fourth Anti-Money Laundering Directive, the European Convention on Laundering of 1993, or the fifth Anti-Money Laundering Directive. And the correct answer is fifth Anti-Money Laundering Directive. The 10th question, a financial institution identifies an attempt by a customer to break up a large cash transaction into several smaller transactions, each under $10,000, specifically to evade the currency reporting requirements. Now, which foundational US law explicitly contains the provisions prohibiting this activity known as structuring? And the options are Bank Secrecy Act, Money Laundering Control Act, Anti-Drug Abuse Act, or Annunzio-Willi Anti-Money Laundering Act. And the correct answer is option number B, which is the Money Laundering Control Act of 1986. They explicitly say that structuring should be avoided. Next question. A bank examiner is reviewing the AML program of a US bank and notices deficiencies related to maintaining records for wire transfer. Which specific US legislation strengthened the BSA and mandated verification and record keeping for wire transfers? The options are Money Laundering Control Act, Money Laundering Suppression Act, Annunzio Willi Anti-Money Laundering Act, or the USA Patriot Act. The answer is C. The Annunzio Willi Anti-Money Laundering Act has mandated the verification and record keeping for wire transfers. The next question. The USA Patriot Act is identified as a key piece of legislation in the US AML CFT framework because it deals primarily with what? A. Prohibiting structuring transactions. B. Implementing the identity requirement for monetary instruments over 3000. C. Dealing with terrorism. Or D. Introducing the AML training for examiners. And the correct answer is C. The USA Patriot Act came into being after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, so it obviously deals with terrorism. The 13th question. The Bank Secrecy Act of 1970 provides for which of the following measures? A. Criminalizing the financing of terrorism. B. Establishing civil and criminal forfeiture for money laundering. C. Record keeping and reporting by private individuals, banks and other financial institutions. Or D. Registration of money laundering service businesses. And the answer is C. Next question. A key provision of the Money Laundering Control Act is that it mandates money laundering as a federal crime, regulatory infraction subject to fines, civil violation only, or bank compliance requirement only. And the answer is A. Federal crime. The 15th question. The Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988 expanded reporting requirements to businesses such as car dealers and currency exchanges, real estate dealers, insurance brokers or legal professionals. And the answer is B. Real estate dealers. Next question. The Annunzio Willi Anti-Money Laundering Act strengthened the BSA by providing specifically for, we have discussed it, but again we are discussing it, suspicious activity reports, developing AML training for examiners, prohibiting the operation of unregistered MSPs, or creating the national money laundering strategy. And the answer is, like we discussed, suspicious activity reports of what? Kindly answer below if you remember. The next question. Due to widespread concern about primary money laundering through certain jurisdictions, the US government seeks to impose special measures on foreign institutions or transactions. Which US law specifically grants the authority to impose these special measures? The options are Money Laundering Control Act, Money Laundering and Financial Crime Strategy Act, USA Patriot Act, or Intelligence Reforms and Terrorism Prevention Act of 2004. And the answer is USA Patriot Act. The next question. A business specializing in high value goods such as real estate dealer or car dealer receives a single instrument payment of $4,000. Under which US law are there specific provisions for reporting requirements of such businesses and entity requirements for monetary instruments exceeding $3,000? The options are Bank Secrecy Act, Money Laundering Control Act, Money Laundering Suppression Act, or Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988. And the answer is D. Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988. Next question is, the legal framework for AML CFT in the United Kingdom comprises of 4 laws, with the most prominently mentioned law being the Terrorism Act, the Money Laundering Regulation 2007, the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002, or the Money Laundering, Terrorist Financing and Transfer of Funds Regulation 2017. The answer is option number C, POCA or Proceeds of Crime Act 2002. The 20th question. Which body was established under the Money Laundering and Financial Crime Strategy Act 1998 to concentrate law enforcement efforts where money laundering is prevalent? The options are FinCEN, High Intensity Money Laundering Related Financial Crime Area Task Force, Bank Secrecy Act Advisory Group, or the Money Service Business Registration Center. And the answer is option number B, HIFCA Task Force. Next question. An Australian entity is attempting to conduct a financial transaction involving a resident of a prescribed foreign country. This specific prohibition or regulation of entering into transaction with residents of prescribed foreign countries is governed by which regulatory provision? A. Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Act of 2006, AML CFT Rules Instrument number 1, Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Regulation 2014, Iran Countermeasures, or the Money Laundering Regulation 2007. And the answer is option number C. Next question. A UK firm providing insolvency practitioner services is establishing its risk assessment policies. Prior to 2017, UK regulation covering sectors like auditor, insolvency practitioners and tax advisors were established by which legislation? And the options are the Money Laundering and Regulation 2007, the Proceeds of Crime Act, the Money Laundering, Terrorist Financing and Transfer of Funds Regulation 2017, or the Crime and Courts Act 2013. And the answer is option number A. Next question. Australia's key AML CFT legislation, the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorism Financing Act, was passed in which year? 2006, 2002, 1983 or 2014? The answer is 2006. Next question. The Money Laundering Regulations 2007 in the UK apply measures to be taken by financial services businesses and other designated businesses, including auditors, insolvency practitioners, tax advisors, and whom? Options are car dealers, casinos, real estate dealers, or bank examiners. And the answer is B, casinos. The final question is, a bank in the US is considering a merger with another financial entity. The bank AML compliance requirements for such businesses combinations are specifically outlined to criteria established under which US Act? The Bank Secrecy Act, Money Laundering Suppression Act, Patriot Act, the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act. And the answer is option number D, Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act of 2004. So that was it for the MCQ of this chapter. It's very crisp and fast. I hope it was helpful to you, and do comment and subscribe this channel for the next videos of this chapter. Thank you. All the best.